While Chet Holmgren and Paolo Banchero were dominating Vegas Summer League, some scouts were at a small gym nearby watching a former top prospect. Shabazz Muhammed is trying to get back into the NBA after spending last season in the Philippines. He dropped 57 for San Miguel, but lots of washed up players dominate internationally. If Shabazz wants a second chance, he needs to show he has been humbled from going to a projected #1 pick to out of the league by age 25. And look, I don't want to blame like his dad for all of his problems, but this guy makes Imani Bates' father look like an angel. He was playing football for USC in the 80s, spotted a girl playing ball for Cal State Long Beach and said, "See that number 10? She's gonna be my wife, and we're gonna make some All-Americans." Okay, first of all, creepy. Second of all, don't worry about what his future kids might actually want. That doesn't matter. But the plan worked. Their oldest daughter is a pro tennis player who actually just competed in Wimbledon. Their middle son is Shabazz, and the youngest, Rashad, who, didn't really pan out in sports. I'm sure he feels great about himself. Shabazz actually developed Tourette's syndrome, which can be caused by stress, so his dad said he had to work extra hard. He spent countless hours in the gym, played AAU every night, and went to an elite prep school called Bishop Gorman in Vegas. But to give his son an extra advantage, Ron faked his birth certificate. He had Shabazz compete against kids a year younger to be bigger and stronger than everyone else. I mean, yeah, you're teaching your kid, to lie, but that worked too. Shabazz became the #1 recruit in the country. ESPN said he was a top NBA pick, but all that attention also brought trouble. The LA Times found out about Shabazz's real age and that Ron was arrested for mortgage fraud. So Ron cooked up another plan. He texted the reporter from the LA Times, "Baz is gonna blow up in the NBA. Let's team up and blow this thing up. I'm gonna need a publicist anyway. Why shouldn't it be you? We could do some big things together." Yeah, that plan didn't work. They ran the story. Then shady people were trying to get a piece of Shabazz's NBA future. So Ron allowed shoe companies and financial advisors to pay for 15 college visits, which is illegal according to the NCAA. They suspended Shabazz days before the UCLA season. The family was devastated, but as usual, Ron had a plan. A friend overheard on a flight that the NCAA was sure Shabazz was taking money and they would do anything to suspend him. So he leaked that to the LA Times, who said the NCAA was biased. The investigator on the case got fired and Baz got to play. But again, it just kind of showed him the rules don't apply to me. Shabazz averaged double digits for UCLA, but he wasn't a fan of, passing and defense. In the conference title game, a teammate made the game winner, and Shabazz was visibly upset that he didn't get to take the shot. All those red flags led to him falling in the draft. The lottery was almost over when the T-Wolves traded for his rights at the 14th pick, one ahead of, some young skinny Greek guy. Giannis became a superstar, but the Wolves regretted their pick long before that. Shabazz was at rookie camp before the season and was kicked out for not following the rules. Shocker. On the court, he had a rough rookie season, but he was good enough eventually to earn a 2-year contract extension in 2017. That also came with a new coach. Tom Thibodeau is a hard guy to play for, especially if you don't like defense. By 2018, they traded for Jimmy Butler. Shabazz was out of the rotation. He was so upset, he demanded a trade. So the Wolves bought him out, and 7 months later, Shabazz was out of a job. Now he says, "I was immature. I should have just played it out. It's a long season. Young guys are impatient. I had a player option. If I ride that out, maybe I'm still in the NBA." For his career, Shabazz averaged just 9 points, dished under 1 assist a night, allowed .942 points per possession, which made him the 440th worst defender in the league. No one needs a one-dimensional, selfish player like that, unless you're in China. Shabazz signed with the Shenji Brave Dragons in heavily polluted northern China. Beautiful. The team was horrible at 15 and 26, but Shabazz averaged 30 points with 11 boards. Of course he did. He was in his prime at 26 years old. Next year, he played for a different Chinese team called the Shenzhen Aviators, 24 points, 9 boards a night, but the season ended with the pandemic. And the only good thing about COVID for NBA players was teams were looking to fill a roster spot. I mean, we saw Lance Stevenson. Greg Monroe gets second chances, so Shabazz went to the G League hoping for a chance. Instead, he played just 2 games, averaging 6 points on 24% shooting. How can a guy who's still 28 years old light it up in China, but turn into a scrub in the G League? Baz played in the Philippines last year, but it sounds like these last few tough years actually humbled him. Shabazz was asked about his experience in the NBA by a small Philippines outlet in an unglamorous, dirty hallway, and here's what he said.
Could you just general thoughts of your experience playing in the NBA, being 6 years with the team?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, the NBA is great, and that's obviously the ultimate goal, getting back there. But like I said, I'm happy to be down here, happy to be in the PBA, and I definitely think we're gonna figure it out and be a really good team.
Look, I'm sorry, but for a guy who thought he was going to be a superstar, to be so positive there and upbeat about his PBA team just makes you want to root for him. So Shabazz is hoping that those NBA scouts in Vegas recently could see that. There are still some teams that need a role player like the Kings or the Mavericks. It's important for Baz to up his defense and his passing, but most of all, he offers perspective. He can show young guys to never take the NBA for granted. There are lots of kids who come in thinking they deserve a spot in the league because, they've been told that their entire lives. Shabazz was that kid. He gave up his spot and never got it back. But maybe a team will give him that second chance, and if they do, he will have a totally different attitude. And I know some of you in the comments are gonna give his dad props for grooming Shabazz to be in the NBA. People love them some LeVar Ball, but Baz had to go through a lot of crap to learn what his dad never taught him. You need to be humble, because there's only like one LeBron James, okay? I guess if you're like the best, the rules don't apply to you. But for like 99.9% of everyone else, maturity matters. That's as much of a skill as actually playing the game. I'm always amazed by a kid like Zion, who can be an internet celebrity, be the man at Duke, and not have it go to his head. A tragic example of this is a soccer player named Ravel Morrison. He is the most gifted player from England, but no one's heard of him. Manchester United's coach said Ravel was the most talented he'd ever seen at that age, but he just wasn't disciplined. So he went from Man United to 10 different crap teams in 12 years. Total waste. Shabazz's dad might have taught him like a jump shot, but he never taught the intangibles that take someone from an amateur kid to a professional. But he's not the only pro player who's had to overcome a controlling dad. What happened to Imani Bates? I heard someone ask this, and so I went and I looked at it. Recently he transferred to a small school. This is a kid who was supposed to be the #1 NBA draft pick. He will now be a second-round pick if he's lucky. But he has 1 year to make it back up the draft boards, and his story is fascinating. Check it out.